We will be now moving to our panel discussion for today. As Mr. Abdullah was also mentioning, that it's very important to go through these partnership. ACCA takes pride in connecting all these organizations at one platform. To begin with, I would like to invite Mr. Zia-ul-Mustafa, who is the President, ICMA Pakistan. Mr. Kashif Anwar, Chairman, Standing Committee on Taxation, LCCI. Mr. Khurram Shahbaz, President, LTBA. Mr. Javed, Ahmad, Tax Economist, PRA. I'd like to welcome our moderator for today's session, Mr. Omer Zaheer Meer, once again. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Over to you, Omer, for the panel discussion.
Thank you, Hina. So we have a very good packed panel for today's session. Can I request all the panelists to mute themselves and unmute when they are answering to avoid this echo? Great, thank you. Hina has already introduced our panelists, and I'm grateful to you all for sparing the time. I do know this is also election time in Lahore Tax Bar, so especially Khurram Sahab, thank you. I know you have some events today, and we'll just go straight into the things. The first question is for the scene setting. So we have listened to the Honorable Secretary of Finance, the government's perspective and views. We have seen the overall quick presentation, the overview by our members. So my first question to you all, and I'd request you all to keep that brief because we'll be discussing in detail, is that what is your overall opinion of this Punjab Finance Act 2020? So I think we'll start with the taxation fraternity's perspective. Mr. Khurram Shahbaz Sahab, if you could give your perspective on the Finance Act.
Thank you, Umar, for giving me the opportunity. With your permission, at the very outset, I would like to thank Mr. Ali Zaheer Meer. It is not only Lahore Tax Bar Association's elections which are going on, but I am aware of the fact that MNP elections of ACC are also taking place. Despite the fact he was busy in his campaign, still he has given a lot of time to this event. And thank you very much, Ali Zaheer Meer Sahab, again. As far as your question regarding the overall budget is concerned, overall, I am very happy with the budget because we have seen that despite the fact that there was a COVID situation going on and the government of Punjab has taken cognizance of the situation, and the amendments which have been done through the Punjab Finance Act 2020, I believe they are very positive. In lots and lots of services which were earlier taxable at the standard date, the rate of tax has been reduced. But there is one alarming amendment which I believe it is to be discussed today. Section 70 of the Punjab Sales Tax on Services Act that has been amended, and specifically clause BB that has been amended. And I am this amendment is very surprising for me because if we read the section which was prior to the Finance Act 2020 amendment, so recovery of tax from a taxpayer could only be made from the funds which are lying with another person and which belong to that taxpayer. And very important amendment which has been done through this Punjab Finance Act is that they have added the word including running and demand finance. This amendment is not appealing my mind because अगर कोई पैसा किसी बैंक के पास मेरा पड़ा हो तो मुझे समझ आती है कि उसमें से रिकवरी की जा सकती है. But when we see that an amount which I have to pay to the bank, और वो फैसिलिटी मिसाल के तौर पे मेरी 100 मिलियन की उन्होंने मुझे दी है और उसमें से मैंने 50 लाख की जो है वो फैसिलिटी अवेल की है और बाकी वो फैसिलिटी अभी उनके पास पड़ी है, उसमें से भी रिकवरी की जा सकती है. दिस इज वेरी स्ट्रेंज. जो पैसा मेरा है ही नहीं उससे कैसे रिकवरी की जा सकती है? दिस इज द ओनली स्ट्रेंज अमेंडमेंट व्हिच आई बिलीव दिस हैज बीन मेड थ्रू पंजाब Finance Act 2020.
And this is question number 3 that I'll be discussing with you.
जी जी. तो मैं समझता हूँ कि ओवरऑल अगर आप मुझसे पूछें तो Punjab Finance Act is a very good, but through this, the budget is excellent. Government had taken cognizance of the situation, but this is the only amendment which was pinching my mind ever since I have read this Finance Act. Javed Ahmad Saab is here. He will explain the situation. कि ये तो कैसे possible है, and I tell you that I have 5 to 6 writs lying on my table for challenging this amendment.
So you are giving them a head start. We will be taking Javed Saab's view, but let us first take another professional perspective. So we have with us Honorable Mr. Zia-ul-Mustafa, who is the president of ICMA Pakistan. So Zia Saab, how do you view the budget? We have heard the perspective of Lahore Tax Bar. Now over to you for ICMAP's perspective.
Thank you, Omer. First of all, I would like to appreciate ACCA for organizing this show and with the support of all the other stakeholders. Really very much appreciable. I would like to appreciate the kind of budget which the government of Punjab has presented in this pandemic situation. And as said by President Lahore Tax Bar, this is very encouraging. They are trying to mobilize the different resources for the economic activity, and they are giving some relaxations and benefits to the different sectors. So in my opinion, budget, as far as budget is document is concerned, it is good, and the will is there that government would like to enhance the economic activity in the country by giving relief in some sectors. But few things more which government should may consider. Sometimes it is we can make a very good plan, but the implementation has certain issues. As one of the thing highlighted by the Shahbaz साहब कि ये clause इसमें इस तरह आ रही और कैसे होगा, मैं आपसे थोड़ा सा practically 2-3 issues discuss करता हूँ. One thing is the budget which you have to release to the different agencies to the government. So this is a very complicated process, and due to which a lot of funds could not be utilized properly. So this mechanism needs to be improved so that the targets can be achieved. Most of the funds normally unspent, and there is a very complicated processes involved to release budgets to the different organizations. And then it is good that the allocation for the public sector development program, which is about 15% of the total budget outlay, that is 337 billion we have right now in this budget document, and out of which 25 billion they are also forcing for the public-private partnership. If we look towards the public-private partnership, I think we have not good examples in this public-private ventures. So this mechanism needs to be evaluate why we are lacking in this public-private ventures, why these ventures are not successful, why the kind of legal shelters available to the private sector or to the other parties. So this is sometimes a misuse of such kind of legal clauses. So the ventures are need to be successful. It is 25 billion is a good amount which a government would like to encourage to the private sector. And then if we look towards the budget for the education, again for education, most of the budget is for the salaries and for the non-development expenditures. So it should be more productive. And this is a good sign that at least in a budget document, we have a plan for a 125 billion surplus, which is a good sign that there is not a budget in the deficit. And if we look for the audience, just
can I just mention here that we have questions focused on these individual aspects. So if you could just conclude your overall impression of the budget, and then we'll be discussing these individual aspects with you.
Yeah, overall, as I said, the budget is encouraging, and the relief, the government has given the relief, and the intention of the government is clear to enhance the economic activity. So as far as this document is, this is good, but the implementation has to be improved. We have to work on how to improve this.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your feedback. Javed sir, please be prepared. Before coming towards you, we'll just take the feedback from the business community's representation. So Kashif Anwar sir, representing Lahore Chamber, always known for speaking his mind. Over to you. Kashif sir, I know you will have a lot of comments, but we just need your overall perspective, and then we'll be discussing the individual aspects.
जी थैंक यू वेरी मच। हाँ जी, जहाँ तक ओवरऑल पर्सपेक्टिव की बात है, बिल्कुल बजट अच्छा है, तो बहुत से ज़्यादा नए टैक्सेस नहीं लगे हैं, टैक्सेस को रिड्यूस किया गया है, फैसिलिटेशन और ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस की हम बात कर रहे हैं, उसके लिए काम किया गया है। लेकिन बात यह है कि कुछ ऐसे सेक्टर्स अगर हम देखें कि जून तक जो कोविड से जिन्हें नुकसान पहुंचा और जो कोविड के बाद भी हैं, अभी तक बहुत से सेक्टर्स नहीं खुले हैं, तो अगर हमने ऐसे सेक्टर्स के लिए पैसा रखा है उनकी फैसिलिटेशन के लिए, तो क्या उन सेक्टर्स को मिल रहा है? और जहां तक बात है कम्युनिटी के लिए बिल्कुल काम कर रही है गवर्नमेंट। जहां तक अगर हम बात करें कि कंस्ट्रक्शन सेक्टर को चलाना चाह रहे हैं, ये भी एक अच्छी बात है कि दोनों हमारी फेडरल गवर्नमेंट भी और हमारी प्रोविंशियल गवर्नमेंट भी इस तरफ आ गए हैं कि जब तक हम इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी क्रिएट करना चाहते हैं तो हमें कंस्ट्रक्शन सेक्टर को चलाना होगा। जब तक हम इसको नहीं चलाएंगे, जब तक हम इसके लिए आसानियां पैदा नहीं करेंगे, तब तक ये हमारा सेक्टर नहीं चलेगा। लेकिन बात ये भी है कि कुछ अब जैसे इख्तियारात, मेरा सवाल यहाँ पर सिर्फ ये है कि हम बिजनेस कम्युनिटी को तो पता चलता है जब उसके ऊपर तलवार गिरती है। देखिए, आप प्रोफेशनल्स पूरे बजट्स को पढ़ते हैं, आप प्रोफेशनल्स पूरे एक्ट्स को पढ़ते हैं, लेकिन हमें तो तब पता चलता है जब हमारे अकाउंट से पैसे निकल जाते हैं। हमें तो तब पता लगता है कि हम पे जब पेनल्टीज लग जाती हैं। और जो मेरा यहाँ सवाल सिर्फ ये है कि हम बिजनेस कम्युनिटी को क्या हमारे इख्तियारात भी बढ़ाए गए हैं पूरे बजट में? जैसा कहा कि बैंक अटैचमेंट हो सकेगी और आरएफ से भी पैसा लिया जा सकेगा। तो हमारा मकसद तो सिर्फ ये है कि हम चाहते हैं कि हमसे पैसे लिए जाएं, हम चाहते हैं टैक्स देना, लेकिन क्या हमारे इख्तियारात को कहीं पर बढ़ाया गया है? क्या प्रोविंस में, क्या फेडरेशन में? इट इज वेरी गुड।
आपने सबके कमेंट्स सुने। अब आपसे हमारा सवाल इस बारे में ये होगा कि नो डाउट एवरीवन इज अप्रिशिएटिव, दिस इज अ गुड बजट in very difficult circumstances, but there is a tone that some of the measures are perhaps not reformative, but they are towards the line of some other taxation bodies which causes problem to taxpayers. Mr. Khurram Shahbaz has identified that, Mr. Zia also referred to that, Mr. Kashif even said that indirectly, and that might even be a constitutional issue. So what, in a good budget which was being appreciated from everyone, why was there a need to put in such a condition that the officers would make recovery not just from anyone's finances, but from running finance or demand finance facilities, so even from the borrowed accounts? Could you please shed some light on that, and whether the government or PRA would be considering to do that? Over to you.
Thank you, Omer. So, all right. I was just preparing myself to give an overview of the budget and the prevailing economic situation. But let me start with my answer to this introduction of this running finance and demand finance thing. At the outset, I must tell you that this is in line with the international best practices. It is in the EU law. It is in other laws as well, and we have imbibed and we have incorporated that provision from there. So over the year, we have witnessed that certain businesses are hiding their business accounts from us, and instead they are doing their normal business transactions through running finances or demand finances. So in the past, we witnessed that there is a problem. Whenever we wanted to recover our due tax, there was a problem. So we have introduced this. But let me tell you honestly that this is not for the ordinary businesses. We know which specific businesses are doing this, and they also know that this provision has been introduced for themselves. So the overall feel should be that there should not be any harassment. But if you just go through the provision in totality, there are other avenues that we can even attach the employees' salaries as well and the interest as well. Whenever the business has some interest in some other business, we can also attach that business. that interest as well. And this is not, this may be a shocking sort of thing, but this is not unusual. So now, if you allow that, why we have done this, this relief package has been introduced. We started our budget working in the month of January, and then the COVID-19 that came in. But what we thought that the last year was a very, very tough period for us and for the whole of the country and for the whole of the economy. There was a recession there. And for a growth spurt, you have to make laws simpler. This is our belief. And we have to remove inequities and inequalities, and the compliances should be reduced to lesser numbers, and those should be less costly. Right now, the big challenge is regaining momentum and relaunching the economy. That is at the heart of our budget this year. We have provided a lot of reliefs to the various sectors. The reason being that they should come up with the normal they should regain their confidence in businesses, and the people should get benefit from that. So that was in our mind. So we are also, in the beginning, Sajid has pointed out that we are not mindful of the two major facts, that we are not understanding the services as a whole, and there is a problem with the harmonization of law. I do believe in that. But we are introducing an emerging market centers, like we are focusing on e-commerce, which is the future of the business from now onward. I must tell you that Estonia is perhaps the only country in the world who has introduced a digital nomad visa for the freelancers and the service providers in that respect. So the key action points which we are going to take is that we have to understand the context. And tax is just a part of that overall economic activity. We have to provide the ease of doing business. So we are providing, like our introduction of our e-filing, e-audits, and we are also going to launch the B2B invoicing system. So this is all for the businesses to comply with, so that they should be learning from our experience, and we should be learning from their experience that technology is the key for the future, and technology is the key for the future taxation. So we are
Javed sir, we are always very future-looking, and we will continue this conversation with the other questions, because you are discussing the things we would want to discuss in the coming question. So yeah, I would like to share with you all that Javed sir, in addition to being a very learned member, we are proud to tell you is also an ACCA